In this video, we're going to be using Sundown by PAA and CK6. We're going to have a return of the Plisson, the original Plisson, what used to be called the brush of the gods. And we're going to do a head shave with the leaf. Stay tuned. Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host CDB, and it's so good to be with you today. So today, this is going to be an awesome head shave. A number of people wanted more head shaves, so I figure I can plug in a head shave or two per week. Today is really special because of Chris Garcia, a friend of mine, longtime supporter of the channel. He sent me an OG original Plisson. Now, there's a lot of stories or a lot of storytelling to be done about this brush, and I'll talk about it during the shave, because this brush is really what put synthetic brushes on the map as far as I'm concerned. Before this brush, synthetics were just meh, and then after this, artisans and brush makers started sourcing better synthetic knots, and it just took off. And in my view, it was mostly due to this little brush. This is really the little brush that could. We're also going to be using the leaf, which you see here, and we're going to be using PAA Sundown. I'll put it right there for you. So PAA Sundown is based on a vintage aftershave called Sun Up, I believe, or Cologne. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to be using the CK6 version, which is $24.95 for 5 ounces. That is $4.99 per ounce. So on our cost scale, that's right below that $5 really pricey mark. So it kind of squeaks in below the real pricey mark, but it is fairly expensive. You can also get it in the original Crown King formula, which is very affordable and a good value, I think. So whichever you prefer, go for that one. I would also say that the one thing to keep in mind about PAA is if you know you're going to love the scent and you're going to get the aftershave, it's better for you to go ahead and buy the bundle. You will save money. So I'll put some links below if you're interested in these products. Chris also sent a little bit of the aftershave for me to try. Thank you very much, Chris. So let's see what this smells like in our sample jar here. Really nice scent. I get some lavender, lemon, oak moss. That's primarily what I get. I'll put the notes right there for you. Again, this soap is in the CK6 formula, so you can expect really good performance. It's a proven performer. It's got some good butters in it. High quality soap. And we're going to be using the PAA. Excuse me, this isn't PAA. This is the Plisson. What am I talking about? In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this Plisson, wet it. I'll go ahead and whip this up so you don't have to wait for that, and I'll come right back. Stay tuned. All right, and we have whipped a little bit of lather up. Let's go ahead and mist the dome and get going here today. We're going to be using the PAA cube, which is an excellent value. I should have probably, it's really hot outside. I should have used the ice tube today, which is also excellent, but I'm going to use the cube. The cube is a very good pre-shave, good value at $6.95. I use it all the time, as you see on the channel, and I think it's a very good value. I'm just going to add a little bit of moisture there to that. And then we'll get ready to lather up. I'm going to talk a lot about the Plisson. The leaf has Astra SP blades in it. Someone asked me the other day how the finish holds up on the leaf. The finish holds up very well. This one is a little over 2 years old, and I've had no problem at all with it. And really nice razor for head shaving. It is my absolute favorite head shaving razor. So here we are with the Plisson, which is, and I don't want folks to be offended when I say brush of the gods, because I know sometimes when we say of the gods, people get upset, and I don't mean anything, I don't mean religious context, gods being plural, meaning, you know, like generic, not literal gods. So I remember before when we originally used to go back and forth on this, people used to get upset. And so please, 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 I'm not belittling anybody's religion by saying brush of the gods. It's just something we used to say about this brush because there's a lot of arguing. So in the day when synthetics first came out, you had the Müller silver tip fiber, which was okay. And you had a sort of a black fiber, which Müller also made. And you had Edwin Jagger brushes, which used silver tip fiber, and they were rather springy. That was the problem. They're still good brushes, but they had a tendency to be a little bit springy. And so people really did not like synthetic brushes for that reason, because they felt springy. But at some point in time, someone went into a L'Occitane store and found a Plisson brush like this. And I can't remember who the first person I ever saw using one, but I think Busta was among the first. And at the time, these brushes were originally like $59.99. Now, can you believe that? Against the backdrop of what brushes are today, synthetic brushes, good quality synthetic brushes. Like you can get the White Wizard from AP Shapeco for $20. I mean, it's a much better brush in my view. Anyway, so folks found these in the brick and mortar L'Occitane store, and they started using them, and they were going, man, these brushes are soft, really, really soft, and they work well. And so the initial reception was a handful of people, including myself, Busta, a guy named Brian Sharp, and I think Tasty, liked them and really enjoyed them. And then some people said they were terrible and too floppy and you couldn't lather soaps with them. Well, we went on to prove that you don't need stiff brushes to lather soaps if you know how to lather. You just don't. I mean, there's always a way to lather soaps without needing a super stiff brush. I'm trying to avoid my ear there. Anyway, as time went on, more and more people started using the Plisson, and it became quite a legendary brush. And then L'Occitane put them on sale for $29.99, and people would buy the heck out of them. I had 4 or 5 at one time. Now, I made the mistake of, I took a lot of them out and put them in other handles, which I still have, but I did not keep one of the originals, which this one is. So thanks very much, Chris Garcia, because in one of my videos, I said I regretted getting rid of the original because it just reminds me of that period of time where it was, in my view, the real birth of synthetic brushes, where they just really took off and people began to give them a chance. Now, it wasn't without a struggle. Many people like me struggled saying these brushes are the real deal. They'll lather anything, and Busta and many others. And people were going as a joke and buying makeup brushes and saying the Plisson is just a glorified makeup brush, which I guess you could make a case that it is, but it works. And the whole point of the brush is to be easy on your face. And only recently, people are beginning to realize that you can get brush burn. So a lot of people for years have been blaming blades and razors for irritation. And it turns out that as people started bowl lathering and painting, they're like, I'm using the same blades, but I'm not getting irritation on my neck anymore. And they figured out it's these stiff brushes or scritchy brushes or brushes with strong backbone that were causing it. So the advantage of a brush like this is it will make a lather very well, but it's not hard on your face. And so you don't really need to be hard on your face because you're dragging steel across your face or head, as the case may be. And so some people just enjoy backbone, and that is entirely okay if you want to scrub your face. But people with sensitive skin would get irritation, and oftentimes they thought it was the blades, the razor, the whatever. And it turns out, lately, I've had several people tell me I started bowl lathering and just painting, and I don't have irritation anymore. So the whole time they thought it was blades, razors. And if you are one of those people and you're watching this, please comment below, because I've gotten at least 4 accounts of this recently. And so what I'm driving at here is this brush was really one of the first super soft, you can even call it floppy if you want to, brushes that people finally accepted that it worked. Because originally it was like, it's too floppy, it won't work, blah, 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 blah. And we proved that not only would it work, but it would work well and it's easy on your face. So even with the swirling here, it's quite easy on my skin. No problems whatsoever because it's as soft as a pillow. And so it was at that point in time that we started calling it the brush of the gods, because it was at the time the best synthetic brush available for many people. Not everybody, but for many. And so folks started referring to it as that based on me saying it on my channel. And so I have a Rudy Vay custom handle with a Plisson knot in it to this day that somebody had made for me as a gift that says brush of the gods on it. And again, I'm not trying to get into diss religion or anything like that. Don't take that the wrong way. By the way, this soap, really, really nice. It really has a throwback sort of vibe to it. It reminds you of Brood. You can definitely tell it's an old-fashioned sort of scent. It's a nice scent. This one reminds you, like, in style, not in scent, but in the style of the scent, it's going to remind you of Brut, Old Spice, like in the way that it presents itself. And so it's definitely a retro sort of scent. And thank you very much, Chris, for sending it. I like to use a lot of these samples during the head shaves. I find it's a good time to do it and just chat and have fun. And thanks so much for everybody watching. And if you're new to the channel, I ask you to subscribe. We're coming up on our 5,000 subscriber giveaway, which will be a significant giveaway. Check out the video on that. And one of the things I want to mention is, folks, I have a lot of videos. So please, if you are looking for a product, soap, search my channel. There is a search function and you can search my channel and you might find that I've done a video on it, because I've done a video, I have in the neighborhood of 1,500 videos. So I might have just used what you're looking to get some information on. So use that search feature and search and, put in the soap or whatever you're looking for. Maybe I've used it. Maybe I haven't. I've used a lot of stuff over the years. And today we're adding the Sundown to the list, thanks to Chris. And thanks so much, Chris, for sending the Plisson. Because not too long ago, I said, man, I wish I had held on to one of those originals, because I took a lot of them out and put them in custom handles. But I never kept one of the originals, which, And then I went looking for them. And like some people were trying to sell them on eBay for like $200. And it's like, oh my goodness, like that's insane. Literally, they were at one time $29.99. And by today's standards, that's actually too much, because you can get, like I said, the AP Shave Co. brushes for $20, and you can get a 30 millimeter knot, a cashmere or a Sinbad. You can get some really good knots for not a lot of money. So what happened after the Plisson was the brush artisans and brush makers started sourcing or looking for knots like it. So then came the wave of the Plissoft knots, like Razor Rock sourced some Plissoft knots. Sterling sourced some knots that were similar to Plisson. And then the doors just blew clean off. And everybody started sourcing newer types of knots. Game Changer, Black Wolf, Tuxedo. It was just knot after knot that came after the Plisson. But Plisson, the Plisson knot was really the one that, it was the first brush that people really started to accept widely. Some people liked the Edwin Jagger synthetic. I even had them and I liked them, but they were a little bit springy. I think Chris Garcia still has some in Edwin Jagger. I think he said that I sold him. But the Plisson knot was just, it achieved a good bit of fanfare. And based on that, a lot of people started sourcing these very inexpensive synthetic knots. And it's part of wet shaving history, or traditional shaving history. I don't really like to call it wet shaving because people don't know what wet shaving means. They think it just means using water, which it does. But so I like to, did I cut myself? Yeah, got myself a little bit there. It's been a while since I got a little weeper. but I did today. Anyway, the point is, the Plisson is a legendary brush. And even if you didn't like it, you cannot deny the impact this little brush has. This is the little brush that could. It could lather any soap, Mitchell's. There were people at the time saying, you can't lather Mitchell's with that. I said, oh yeah, I lather Mitchell's with it. You can't lather Martin de Condre with that. Oh yeah, I lather Martin de Condre with it. It was just a brush that could do it all and was very inexpensive for the time, because $30 was quite a reasonable price. And then once Razor Rock and Sterling came out with their offerings, it blew the doors clean off the synthetic market, and they went down and down and down. And today you can get a great synthetic brush for 10 or 12 bucks in a lot of cases. And oftentimes well under $25 you can get fantastic offerings. I'm just touching up here. And so that's why I have so much reverence for this little brush. This is the one that created the level of acceptance that we have today for synthetic brushes, because at the time there were very few offerings and they weren't very good. That one right there people started saying, where is L'Occitane getting those knots from? And where is Plisson getting those knots from? And next thing you know, we had affordable synthetics. And so really, really incredible. Let me rinse. We'll come back and get into the post. Stay tuned. All right. And we're back with our Lancaster towel. And that was a really nice sort of retro shave based on the knot, at least, and the soap, being it, sort of inspired by Sun Up. This is witch hazel, by the way. Thayer's Magic, because it's made by witches. Also, I want to remind you, if you've made it this far, I do put links below, so check those links out. If you like, they're there for your convenience. I don't ever ask you to buy anything. It's completely up to you, but I put them there for your convenience. Keep that in mind. So, before we get to the aftershave, we used a leaf. That's my razor of choice for head shaving. I just love it. Astra SP blades. We already talked about the brush here. Thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate that. This one will not be leaving my den. I'm going to put it up somewhere of prominence, because this is a brush that really created some waves, and a lot of people should be thankful that this brush came along, or we wouldn't be nearly as far along on synthetic brushes today. We used the PAA Cube, which is always excellent value, $6.95. And we used the Sundown. And we're going to finish up today with the Sundown aftershave. And we're going to call this a very nice head shave. And here's the way I pour: through the back with the finger, like so. Boom. No problem. I know there are other ways you can do it. This is the way I do it. Oh yeah. Really a classic vibe to this scent. It's definitely an old school scent. I've never experienced the Sun Up, but I can tell you right now, this reminds me so much of Old Spice and Brut. It's just along those lines. And so if you like classic sort of scents, check out the Sundown by PAA. It's certainly something that I'm going to consider buying, because, I just have the sample here and a little bit of the aftershave. Thank you so much, Chris. And thanks, all of you. I really appreciate you being with me. I want to remind you, I'm your host, CDB. It is your shave. Do it your way. And as always, God bless.